Um, so how many of you have heard of Neon Exchange, Next? Whoa, awesome, that's awesome. So right before talking about Next, I'd like to have a brief introduction about myself. So I was born in Ukraine. My name is Evgeny, but you can just call me Ev, because I've been in Australia for like 2 years, so like Ev is good. And I was raised in Israel, and I was fortunate enough to be raised in Israel because it shifted, like my mindset in Israel was like transformed, like to think big, right? Israel is a tiny country, but it has a global impact, right? And we do this by trying really hard, working really hard, embracing failure. This is actually good. So like in Israel, if you have a startup and it fails, like you're welcome. Like your employer would say, we'll hug you. Oh yeah, you're probably really, really good. So that's fine. And I actually want to see that in Australia as well. Failure is actually good. So, and actually to be fearless, right? Because it's a startup. And this crypto space is not immune from that. And we're gonna see startups fail. So it's not like magical, right? They raise a lot of money, but they'll, some of them will fail. So I've been doing like 10 years of front-end engineering. I really like front-end. I've been doing that for a lot of time, like since like IE6. I hated IE6, so thank God we're doing great stuff now. And the thing is, like, I know there aren't many developers here, but I actually see this field as like, smart contract developer or blockchain developer as like an emerging field. If you want to get in now. Like in a couple of years, this is going to be like hard, like front-end. Front-end is really hard, but it's probably like really rewarding to be like a smart contract developer. So definitely embrace that. I've worked for a number of companies. Propeller Air is actually an Aussie drone tech startup. I really enjoyed working there, but I get the blockchain bug. I remember speaking with Rory. He's like, hey, like, I get the blockchain bug, like, and he's like, yeah, I get you, like, just go ahead. And I mean, to be honest, like doing crypto, doing blockchain stuff is like so interesting that nothing else is just comparable. So I had to do that, even though it was really interesting. Wix.com is a great experience. It was pretty awesome because we actually had I had the opportunity to do like a complete rewrite of the editor in React. So that was like actually pretty awesome. And funny thing, like I first heard about Bitcoin in 2014. It was when my team leader at Wix was like, hey, we heard about this cool thing called Bitcoin. I'm like, nope. And then he's like, well, it's like 1,500. I'm like, whoa, okay. And it's like, I'm gonna buy some because this thing is gonna rock. Like, all right, fine. And then he did this shady transaction, meeting someone on the street, giving him some Israeli shekels, and he like printed his wallet. His private key is just like, it was so weird. I'm like, I'm not sold. I don't want this, right? And I'm like, are you crazy? It's $1,500. Like but yeah, I should have listened to him. He's a happy person right now. All right, 1,500. 2017 is the year that no one can ignore crypto, right? This is everywhere. I'm working on Propeller. I'm like, shit, every other day you hear news about crypto, right? So I just couldn't stand aside. Then I became a crypto investor, right? Everyone else like starting as an investor, right? You're like, yeah, I'm gonna be an investor. So I went to Coinbase and just bought some Bitcoins. It was a pretty good experience. Then I heard about ICOs and other coins. I'm like, Jesus, I was like asleep for like 8 years, and this. And I'm like, well, like, let's try, this cool coin. And I'm like, how do I buy this? And then you go through those centralized exchanges, and what's an exchange? So it takes a while for a person to go through the whole thing. It's not pleasant as like Coinbase. So I've researched, and then I saw, well, Bitcoin, it was like a very advanced calculator for me, but Ethereum and NEO are like actually, like you can actually run apps on them. They're like really cool. So then I researched some more, and I saw like how smart contracts work on Ethereum versus NEO. And I'm like, well, NEO is like this, I have a feeling this is a new key that's gonna rise, because Ethereum was there for a while, but NEO has like a better consensus mechanism. Then let's do that. I was searching Google for like, what is NEO, and then I stumbled upon City of Zion, and I saw that they have many projects, and I'm like, well, I'm a front-end developer. Hopefully they have something for me. Then I was like joining the chat. I'm like, hey, I'm a front-end developer. Do you need my help? And they're like, yeah, here's Neon Wallet. So go and help. And as I dove into the code, I'm like, well, this is bread and butter for me, right? This is React. I know React, so let's start doing this thing. And as time went on, I got my contributions up and up and got more recognition. I really enjoy this work because, you guys use Neo Wallet, and I know how important it is, to have a really great wallet. And I know that's like for me, as a developer, I'm like, geez, I want this thing to be like the best. And we actually have a new redesign coming up. It's gonna be really good, but it took some time, right? So, and then Next happened basically because I was there in City of Zion making good work on Neon Wallet, and then I saw Next announce. I'm like, hey, I wanna work in this. And then they're like, yep, you've done a great one in the Neon Wallet, so so let's have you work full time on Next, and I was really happy. So this is another awesome picture of how we're speaking about decentralization, right? So this is the Next team, right? They're like spread out. You gotta have an Aussie on your team, right? You just gotta have an Aussie. So 4 continents, and we're definitely gonna grow. And another thing is that I really believe that this is sort of the future of the workforce. We're gonna see more sort of companies doing remote. You don't have to be like in the office to work there. You just can work from wherever you want, right? Because you might be productive in in certain hours that people are less productive or more productive, and so you can just set your own hours. So in Next, we're like super productive. Like we work and get shit done, and there's no meetings and nothing. We just get shit done because we're mostly our developers. So what is Next? I know you guys are probably familiar, but it's just like for the people who are new here to Next. So it's like a hybrid system that combines the best of both worlds. It takes the performance characteristics of a centralized exchange and the security features of a decentralized exchange to create this thing called Next. So it does that by having a publicly verifiable off-chain matching engine. So that matching engine does complex trades, so things like limit orders, market orders, margin trading. We can do all that. So it's seamless for you if you're used to centralized exchanges such as Binance. It will be transparent for you, but we're also getting the security features because you own your funds. All right. So when you compare centralized exchanges with Next, and I was actually pumped when Katharina said, centralized exchanges are gonna die. I'm like, oh, really? Well, I'm gonna talk about Next soon. So yeah, I mean, I truly believe that centralized exchanges are great, but they have so many problems. They get hacked. I mean, you probably all heard about the Mt. Gox hack, and then Bitfinex, and then there's another hack. So it's really bad for crypto, and we're here to solve that. Because there's another thing, centralized exchanges to be listed, sometimes you need to pay money for that. And on a decentralized exchange, it's we're gonna list whatever NEP5 token, they ICO, they can just be listed and traded on Next. So the fundamental workings of Next. So let's assume user 1 and user 2, they want to swap tokens, right? So the first thing user 1 does is he takes his token, whatever amount, and he authorized that to Next to take that amount and put that to the matching engine. Now, if anything is compromised or whatever, what is compromised is just that amount. No, we don't keep the whole thing, right? So so the money at risk is just that amount you put, if it's compromised. Then user 2 does the same thing. They send the orders to the matching engine. The matching engine matches those orders, and then matches them off-chain. Off-chain that means it's not on the blockchain, right? Because it's faster. So then the last step is actually committing that through a smart contract back to the user's swap. Some characteristics of a good exchange, right? So we need high volume, right? So we are actually opening the the matching engine will have an API, and when your funds are there, like you can like use bots. You can we need that huge volume, so we won't have like arbitrage and stuff like that. And then in the future we'll have some partnerships that have like even help us to even have more liquidity. Payment services. So basically, I'm gonna touch on that a bit like in the next slide. But basically, on NEO, global assets such as NEO and gas are based on the UTXO model. It's a bit different than the account model on Ethereum. Basically, on Ethereum, it's really easy for the smart contract to read the user balance, like to interact with the user F. But on NEO, it's different, and NEP5 tokens are like that, like the ERC20 Ethereum one equivalent. But for Next to work, we need NEO and gas to work on a smart contract. We need that balance. So we have a payment service layer where basically we're turning those global assets to sort of a NEP5 equivalent. So like a NEO would be like X NEO and X gas. So we have, and it's not just for us. It's also for other smart contracts who want to use that. And last thing is complex trades, right? You have you gotta have complex trades. You can't just like go like to a site like EtherDola that does not have like complex trades. You want to trade on high volume and use whatever trading mechanism you use, like limit traders or margin trading. So a bit of a deep dive into how the payment service works is it's really important, right? So the first step is you sort of authorize Next, get that NEO, and then what happens next is that that NEO becomes like X NEO, sort of like becomes a token basically, and then you sort of authorize like from take some X NEO from from smart contract 1 to 2, and then in the end you can withdraw that, right? Because you deposit that NEO, it's yours, but then when you withdraw, you might withdraw it with a different balance if you transferred some of the NEO to someone else. So this is like a high level of how it works. Decentralized banking is something, it's our take on like the future of crypto, because most people don't really like to trade. I mean, personally, I like to hodl, right? Who likes to hodl here? Yeah, right. You by the way, guys, do you know what hodl means, by the way? Like, do you know the story? It's kind of interesting, like sort of. Sorry? Reddit. Yeah, on the Reddit guy. This guy is like basically. I don't know if he was drunk. It was probably drunk, saying something like, "Oh, I'm hodling." He was actually spelling it wrong, but on purpose because he's such a bad trader. He trades like, just before the deep or buys high. And I mean, I'm just like that. I'm such a bad trader. Like, I could have been like super rich, like from Ripple and Stellar and all those. I'm like, oh shit, I'm so dumb. So hodling is our take, and that means like you deposit your funds, and we will sort of create like an index for you, right? And we will invest for you, and you get the rewards. So that's pretty cool. I'm pretty excited about that. Something we really saw in the UX survey is something that like people really wanted, and that's Fiat integrations. Like, who wants like NEO to AUD? That would be awesome, right? So we're introducing that. We're integrating with Fiat integrators. That it's my dream. Like people just like if they want to buy NEO, they have to go through Bitcoin or Ethereum or other or maybe Tether. So we want this sort of direct, like, you want NEO, you want NEP5, no problem, we're gonna do it for you. So we're gonna bring those Fiat integrators. So that's pretty awesome. The browser extension. So who has heard of the browser extension? All right, awesome. So it's already on the store, gonna have like a 4-star review. So personally, as someone who worked on the wallet, you know, as a developer, it was such a good experience because it's just like, hey, like you work on this wallet, do you want to recreate it from scratch? Yes, of course I do, you know, all lesson learned. So this is like a really, really shiny wallet, but it's not just a wallet. It's also like your sort of MetaMask equivalent. It can interact with decentralized applications. And it's like, you know, when people ask us like, why do you need the extension for you know, for registering for the lottery? There's so many people who ask that. Well, because it's like, so Next is not just about the exchange, it's about the whole suite. We want to take care of everything, and the extension is another part of the funds management one, right? That you will have a really secure wallet and a way to interact with other dApps. So this is like why we need the extension, and also this is how you prove you own your address, right, for the lottery. So the dashboard looks like this. You know, it's easy to, you know, it's alpha, obviously. You know, yeah. So we're gonna release another version like with a lot of bug fixes, but it is safe. It's been tested a lot on mainnet, and I mean, I literally think that, like, you know, it's better to, I mean, it is a critical product because it's a wallet, but it's better to, you know, if we say the 12, then it's going to be the 12, right? This is like if we commit to dates, right? So you have to commit to dates. So we released that, and I'm enjoying the wallet. So this is how the dashboard looks. This is how the send screen looks. So we support multiple sends. So this is just like the Neon wallet, but a bit of a better UI on there. Transactions is a screen I really like to talk about. So it's a screen we really carefully crafted, because on Neon Wallet, for example, you don't see the history of your NEP5 tokens. So we actually bring sort of a combined history with everything that is like, you know, a human readable sort of transaction history. And luckily we have Luciano on the team, who is the creator of NeoScan. So I was like, hey, Luciano, can you create this new endpoint for the wallet? He's like, yeah. So that's awesome. So we have a good team that just has the right ingredients for creating this. So it's literally the first wallet that has those transactions, the transaction history. These are the contacts, simple contacts, and yeah. So so this is okay. So this is not a real. You know, it's not sponsored by Lamborghini, but this is an example of how would you buy a Lamborghini with gas. So this is how would you do that? Basically, when you hit purchase, sorry, no worries. So so basically, when you hit purchase, the client library talks to the extension, and there's this pop-up that's sort of like, would you know, if you have the funds, then you just purchase your Lambo, right? Because everyone wants to purchase a Lambo, but it's not real, right? This is just an example of how we will use gas in the future and how it will interact with your wallet. There's much more, right? Just go check it out. And I guess most of you know the extension, so it's sort of like, it's pretty cool. The tokens there, right? So we're raising $25 million, so one token is $1. And we're going to do it in 2 rounds, because there's a lot of people interested in this project, and we want to be really fair. And we also don't want to like have people contribute like $10. You know, it's not a serious investment. So up to a maximum of 1,000, and there's a minimum of 1 NEO. And we do a lot of, yeah, because there's a lot of people, right? So hopefully you're already registered. So this is how sort of the lottery page looks like. You need the extension. And if there's any problems, there's sort of like, you know, you can reach to us. And so first date finally like scratched. On the 13th, the lottery will close. And on the 31st, we're going to open the KYC. Obviously, everyone will go through KYC. On the 7th, it will close. And there's the second round if, for the depending how many will pass the KYC, because we don't really know. Like there's a lot of people registering, but we also need them to actually go through the whole thing, right? And that, like, this is serious stuff. And then probably at the end of April, but I'm not sure because it's not known yet, or a bit later, the ICO will begin for the people who pass the KYC. Token staking. So like, so the fees are generated by sort of, next we have like a marker, what's called like, basically when orders are, there's the market maker-taker kind of model where when you place an order, like a limit order, you're like a market maker. When you make a market order, you're a market taker. So you will have a small fee there. But the good thing is that when you hold next, we're gonna distribute those fees to you, and it's gonna be a lot. It's gonna be probably anywhere between like 50 to 70 or 80%. And the reason why it's so high, like there's a lot of people asking like, why is it so high? Like, are you crazy? We're not crazy. We do hold a lot of the tokens. So, I mean, it sort of makes sense, but we also want the public to enjoy those dividends. So, you know, hold those tokens. And thank you very much. And, you know, you can hit me up and reach, you know, I'll answer.